everyone. While I'm making sure that we're streaming, I'm excited that we're here again. Oh my gosh, it seemed like forever. Everyone, that while we didn't meet for obvious reasons. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas and New Year. And I hope we are all looking forward to an amazing New Year. I am. It started off with a bang. Exciting. So welcome again to Medical Mondays with Dr. O. I'm Dr. Tony Okwesami, and I'm a family practitioner. I treat HIV and substance use disorder in Maryland. And I'm always excited to be here to learn more about how to improve my health and the health of others. This is a platform where the Lord has blessed us with so much knowledge of things that are around us and we don't even know they harm. It's not surprising, though, that we're starting the year with a topic like we have today, which is a topic to help us with how we eat, what we eat, and how to navigate the year and going forward. There was lots of things that we found out. I think I saw by fluke that turmeric, that we know is an anti-inflammatory agent, that we've been very excited eating, putting in all sorts of foods that we've been encouraging, can cause Dr. Ajagbe kidney problems, correct? So I sent it to Dr. Ajagbe, and I'm like, hey, check this out. Can you believe it? A few minutes later, he responded that, oh, wow, and sent me some other things. And so we dialogued and felt that we need to address this issue because we don't want problems to happen. We want to prevent them. So without much ado, I'm going to yield to Dr. Oluwole Ajagbe to take us on this journey of what constitutes a balanced diet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O. Happy New Year, everyone. Could you give me the sharing of the screen? Give me permission to share my screen, and we can move forward from there. Do I have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
Let's see. Not this one. Can you see my screen?
No.
I don't know what is going on. Right again.
Still not seeing it.
Let's see, screen. Start broadcasts.
That's interesting. You've been on for at least 30 minutes that we could have worked this.
Well, I was waiting, but it's sharing screen. Okay.
Yeah. We're seeing your device.
Can you see it now?
We're seeing your device, we see your screen, but not what you want to show, I don't think.
Oh boy, that's...
It says that you should share device audio. Yeah, now we see it. What constitutes a balanced diet for an African? Is that it?
Yes.
Good. We have it.
All right. Hold on one second. I just want to be sure that that's the same one. Okay. So can you see
the learning objectives?
The first one is
Introduction.
What constitutes balanced diet for an African? So once again, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and it's a very big privilege for me to start us off this year, 2025, with the first topic. And I believe that this is not a new thing for all of us. Everyone who has a little bit of education has heard about balanced diet before. Now, whether we understand fully what that means is another thing, but we've heard of it before. And sometimes, erroneously, people believe that once they hear the term balanced diet, it has to be a European or, Caucasian type of, diet for it to be balanced diet. But today we're going to try to explore it from a different angle, since we are trying to, bring awareness to our community and bring us to that, the starting point in 2025 with, good choices, healthy choices, lifestyle choices, and so on, that could guarantee us, a healthy future and a healthy, experience in everything that we do. So let's go ahead and start with the topic today. So here are some learning objectives that by the end of the presentation, we're hoping that everybody should at least have a clearer understanding of the concept of a balanced diet and its, what it constitutes or what the components are. We should be able to identify traditional African foods that constitute, that can contribute to a balanced diet. We want to learn practical meal ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner using locally available foods. And then appreciate the cultural and nutritional values of African cuisine. Now, we're not disparaging any regional, preferences in terms of European, Asian, other parts of Africa and all of that. But it's just one way for us to begin the dialogue or bringing awareness to what we have, what many of us have known since we were born, and what we don't understand why we're not using them on a regular basis. We defer to the Caucasian or the African, the American, European dietary preferences. So let's go ahead and see a few things. If we are able to understand the basic, concept of a balanced diet, then we will not be making mistakes that unless we eat certain specific brands of food, we are not having balanced diet. We need to understand that any meal to be considered a balanced diet must be made up of the basic food compositions. The first of them will be carbohydrates, which we call, starchy food, that usually is what gives us the energy to conduct our daily affairs. Proteins is often referred to as the building blocks, and also fats, will give us reserved energy that we need, for long-term activities. Vitamins and minerals are often necessary for the body functions to be normal and to be, optimal. So once we have this understanding, anytime we want to eat and we want to make the food balanced, we must ask ourselves, does it contain carbohydrates? What are carbohydrates? We'll talk about the examples of carbohydrates. Does it contain protein? Does it contain fat? Does it contain vitamins and minerals? If all these components are present in any of the meals, whatever origin the meals, the diet is from, constitute a balanced diet. So let's look at, I think I've sent to everybody who is participating tonight in my contact some additional, documents to help us fully understand what this is all about. You're going to see some that talk about comparison, that is comparing the regional diets in Europe, America, Asia, and Africa. And this kind of situation, the document will help us to see what constitutes the carbohydrates that is predominantly utilized or consumed in the different regions. What constitutes the protein, what constitutes the fat, and what constitutes the sources of minerals. So let's go on and see some of these things, the components. All right, so for carbohydrates, this is the energy provider. The staple carbohydrates sources in African diets includes whole grains, like millets, guinea corn, which is also called sorghum, teff, maize, and these are the commonest grains that we have. Of course, rice also is present in Africa. Tubers are seemingly the most predominant sources of carbohydrates that we have. There is hardly any day that we don't have exposure to the roots or tubers that are very loaded in complex carbohydrates. Some examples of that is, cassava, yam, sweet potatoes, plantain, whether ripe or unripe. So what constitutes proteins for African diets? Proteins are the essential building blocks for growth, repair, and immune function. The sources for Africans, for instance, include legumes, pretty much like beans, cowpeas, lentils. There are different kinds of beans in Africa. I'm sure, like other parts of the world, not just black-eyed peas. We have different brown beans. We have black beans. We have all kinds of sizes of beans. Same thing in other regions of the world. The animal sources that we have for, protein in Africa, are lean meats. Most people prefer to eat beef, which is from the cow. A lot of people prefer chicken, or based on how, affordable some of these sources of proteins may be. Fish is ubiquitous. Dairy products is not very, it's not very common, but we do have, milk as well as yogurt. Not too much of cheese, except for the local congealed, feta cheese that is being made by the Hausas. The traditional dishes also that we are familiar with, primarily from West Africa, most part, you see, Moinmoin, groundnut soup, egusi soup, eforiro, ayamase, different kinds of, traditional dishes that are available to us in different parts of Africa. I will mention a few of them along the way. How about fats? Now, I'm sure at different times we've talked about sources of fat. In Africa, we've talked about the palm oil, which is everywhere in Africa. I mean, more so in the western part of Africa. Groundnut oil, and I know there are other sources of oil like coconut oil and melon seed oil. In some cases, sunflower oil, sunflower seed oil, and all that are also being utilized in Africa. There are some fishes that are very oily. We know that for the sources of omega-3 fatty acid. The commonest of them that is eaten in Africa is the mackerel. Mackerel is everywhere, has many names, different species of mackerel, subspecies of mackerel available, and they're affordable in many of the African markets. So these are the components of a balanced diet. So how about vitamins and minerals? These are components of our meals that support overall health. Most of the African fruits and vegetables are loaded with these vitamins and minerals. We cannot say we lack sources of all of these things. In actual fact, if the awareness is very generalized and is everywhere, there will be no need to buy any kind of supplements if you eat African food, because a lot of the minerals and the vitamins that we are always looking for are already naturally present in all of our food sources. So for instance, if you're thinking about leafy greens, any leafy greens that you see in Africa is loaded with not only iron, zinc, calcium, selenium, even vitamin K in many cases are present, apart from vitamin A, C, and some of the fruits also have vitamin B. So when we look at the traditional greens, the most common ones will be the ones that we eat on a daily basis. There are many different names given to them, but many of them fall under the category of spinach. So most of the ones that we use for a foriro and egusi soup in Nigeria are leafy green vegetables. Moringa leaves is now present almost everywhere in Africa. It used to be most prominent in East Africa because many of the East African countries actually export moringa. And you can find moringa in people's backyards, front yards, and so on. If you have access to this type of leafy green plants, please utilize them because they have all kinds of nutrients that are good for healthy living. Many of us are familiar with okra. Wherever you are in the world, you can have access to okra because now they've been shipped and being cultivated in different parts of the world. Hibiscus, flower is being called different names in different parts of Africa and different parts of the world. That is very rich in vitamin C and fiber. If you care to blend it with your smoothie, you can get a lot of benefit from that. So now, fibers are very, very important components of our diets, and foods that are high in fiber are present in African food sources, and they include whole grains and tubers. These are, plant source that the fibers are insoluble, and that is the reason why we call them prebiotic. And when we eat things that are fermented that have probiotics, this help to break down the fibers and help us to move our bowels and balance the microbiomes of our intestines. So legumes and vegetables with soluble fibers are also good for blood sugar regulation. All right. As part of a balanced diet is hydration. Most of the time, hydration is often misunderstood. Hydration doesn't mean that you should drink gallons of water while you are eating. It only means that we should have enough water or, water intake, either straight water or any kind of fluid that is water-based. So if we drink on a regular basis, particularly in between meals, it is best for our body functioning. So the traditional African beverages like, herbal tea, that the Yorubas will call agbo, they don't have to have that kind of negative connotation. But if anyone is drinking herbal tea, they're basically doing the agbo thing that our forefathers used to drink, except that it's a combination of different herbs that are infused into water, and we drink it to hydrate. Now, many of these teas have nutritional as well as medicinal benefits, and we can take advantage of those while we hydrate. So, having the basic understanding now what constitutes a balanced diet, now we can decide to combine the different components using whatever preferences that we have. For instance, we already know that carbohydrate is important. We know that protein is important. We know that fat is important. And we know that minerals and vitamins are important, as well as hydration, which is water. Now, we can choose any of the carbohydrates and pair them with any protein, and of course, any of these things that we are cooking and we add healthy oils to will give us the balanced diet that we're looking for. For those who are constantly thinking about weight management, portion control is very important. And I'm sure every one of us has an idea of what that means. It only means we should not eat more than our body needs at any particular point in time. So there are some recommendations, but they don't necessarily have to go with what you have in mind. But as long as you know that whatever you want to choose has all these components in it, then you can create your own custom-made balanced diet. For those who are weight conscious, it is often said that if you want to do this perfectly to maintain your weight, that you should always think about the proportion. If 50% of your meal or your diet for that particular meal is, if 50% of your plate size is vegetables, that's preferred. And then the remaining 1/4, will be protein, and the other 1/4 will be fat. And all of these combined together with minerals, like in your fruits, the vegetable already has minerals as well as fibers, as well as vitamins. So if we can eat this way, we will have a clearly healthier experience in our food intake. So now there are some suggestions here because of what people already are familiar with. Akara, which is a bean cake, which is usually fried, with pap, which is corn-based and is supposed to be, a fermented corn or fermented Guinea corn or fermented millet. And any of these can create the same kind of, fluidy breakfast. Some people use it for breakfast. Some people use it any time of the day. So because it's rich in complex carbohydrate, it's very, very good as the carbohydrate foundation for a meal. The akara, which is bean cake, is rich in protein. Because it's fried in healthy oil, you already have fat as well. And just having that as a meal is complete and is balanced. A boiled, tubers or boiled plantain with any kind of vegetable as well as oil that is used in preparing the meal, which is healthy, can constitute balanced diet. So these are some kind of recommendations, but they are not hard and fast rules about maintaining the balanced diet. Here's some suggestions for lunch. Some people prefer to have very light lunches. So ofada rice with ayamase sauce, with grilled chicken will do very well for lunch because it's not too heavy and it's not too light. For some people from my own part of the world, amala with begiri ewedu and some kind of meat is preferable because you want it to digest for a long period of time before bedtime. Also, quinoa or any kind of grain with sauteed vegetables and any kind of protein, that is healthy will constitute a good lunch. How about dinner? Recommendation for dinner could be things like yam porridge with fish stew or any kind of stew and a side of vegetables, beans and boiled plantain with sides of fresh tomatoes for those who are not allergic, or any kind of vegetables and onions will also be very good choice. Grilled fish with a side of steamed vegetables and cassava, also very good choice for dinner. It's not very heavy and it's very compound, complex carbohydrates is the cassava, and it releases the glucose over a long period of time, so there is no sudden spike of blood sugar. So those are some kind of recommendations. So tips for a balanced diet. Everyone has the liberty to choose whatever carbohydrate they want to consume, whatever protein they want to consume, whatever fat they want to use, minerals and vitamins. They are all part of the deal that we must make choices. If we find that our food that we are eating already are not rich in vitamins and minerals, we are free to add, supplements. We are free to supplement that by commercially available supplements. Portion control, I already mentioned it in passing. Please maintain appropriate portions. Don't overdo it because the food is very delicious. This jollof rice is so delicious. Can I have double servings? Can I have triple servings? Should not be the case. In fact, some people, once they taste one piece of meat, they say, wow, it tastes so good. It's so tender. Let me have a few more. If you are exceeding your portion size, eventually it will accumulate in wrong places and the person will become susceptible to weight gain and eventually will begin to look for ways to eradicate or get rid of the excess weight. We also always have to have in mind, the effects on our overall well-being. If we eat well, if we sleep well, if we exercise, we definitely will only be going for, wellness check. We won't be going in for severe conditions that really need very strong medications to control, and very strong medications always have side effects, and side effects are often going to make people even more sick in the long run. So the key or the key takeaway from today's presentation is that we know that we have control over what kind of balanced diet we want to eat. It is not forced on us. We can choose any carbohydrate, we can choose any protein, we can choose any fat, we can choose the minerals, as long as they are constant and as long as we consume them in moderation. Anything we do in excess is going to have its own side effects. So for the sake of time, I will not go into comparative analysis of what the European balanced diet is, the African balanced diet, the Asian balanced diet, and all of that stuff. I've sent some documents that can help us to compare those. So I'll stop here and we can take it on from here with question and answer. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this morning. Over to you, Dr. O.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajagbe. That was rich, deep, concise, right on point. Thank you. And bringing it home to us, making it real to us with what we are used to, that what we eat in our culture, I mean, is priceless. I don't think we have seen a presentation like that, because usually it's the food in the Western culture that we're used to that we have here that people usually talk about. So thank you so very much for that. I would ask a question. By the way, if you have questions, please raise your hand or, put it in the chat box. I have a question though. I saw the combination of foods that you wrote, and I saw one where you have the avocado, and you said to sprinkle it with nuts. Is there a reason why? Does it create a sort of balance?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. O. Some of these suggestions are based on, style of doing things. For instance, when you talk about avocado, you could slice avocado and put it on a bed of salad, for instance. And then you eat it with anything you want. If you want, you can sprinkle, nuts on them, because the nuts are not only rich in protein, they're also rich in fat, healthy fats. And, we are always constantly talking about omega-3 fatty acid, which is what is heart healthy and heart friendly, cardiovascular friendly. And that's where we always talk about choosing your oil very wisely. So everything we're talking about has to do with wise decision. It's your preference. If you don't want to sprinkle nuts on your avocado, you're free not to sprinkle nuts. But some people may just see that it's a garnish. It garnishes their plate. It makes it look beautiful. But then if you know you are having nuts, you are having avocado, you are having boiled or roasted. In fact, one of the documents I sent to all my participants includes roasted stuff, like things in Africa that we roast, like roasted yam, roasted sweet potato, grilled plantain, barley, and all of those things. How can they become balanced? How can they constitute balanced diet? So that also is something that I know we will not have enough time to go into all the details, but that's something there that people can read and understand. I can't hear you, Dr. O.
Thank you. I was muted.
I can't hear you.
Yes, well,
Okay.
because I was muted. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I have Madam CEO, Madam Lara Okunobi, our own mom at NAPAC. You have your hand raised. Kindly unmute and ask your question. And Happy New Year in person, almost.
Yes, Dr. O, happy New Year. More grease to your elbows, to your knuckles, to your knees.
Amen.
Every area. We'd love to see you back with a good smile. That's the Dr.
I love you. Nice to see you.
Welcome to 2025.
Yes.
This is exciting. Baba Moringa. Excellent.
Peace. Peace to you.
Peace to you too. Sheshi, we're in Nigeria. Are you still in Nigeria? Because we want more of this. Okay, please. So you need to do more research on all the food. My question though is some of the suggestions you proposed for dinner, like yam and beans. I thought they are heavy meals to be had at dinner. So the behind that was Beans is very heavy, and some people gives them gas. So is yam, blood yam, asaro, or whatever it is that you mentioned. So why is that preferred at dinner time instead of during the daytime when you can still activities that would work it off of you?
Thank you for your question. That's very insightful. Like I said before I rounded up my presentation, these are all suggestions, okay? And everything also depends on portion control. And another thing I didn't have time to talk about is hydration. What time should you hydrate? And how does that affect your well-being? And so if you say that, for instance, yam porridge, you think is very heavy, well, you can have a little small portion of that and have more of, salad as part of your meal. So that kind of give you the balance that you're looking for, because you still need carbohydrate. I don't care how heavy you think it is at night, because many people, if they don't have carbohydrates in their system, they cannot go to sleep. For some strange reason, you still need some sugar for your brain to be refreshed overnight. You still need to keep energy, flowing, but controlled while you are sleeping. So the carbohydrate need is imperative for balanced diet. Now, if you choose not to include carbohydrate in your dinner because you think it's heavy, well, that means it's not balanced meal, no matter how you want to make it look. You can still enjoy your food. It doesn't mean you won't enjoy your food, but you will not have balanced diet. So remember what we're talking about today is about balanced diet.
Well, thank you so much for that answer. That was a question I was going to ask, but I was going to ask that question. I had some others, but then I saw the hand raised. Yorubas say something, "Ewa o da lo ń jẹ àjẹsùn," meaning that beans is not good for dinner. There's a reason. There's a question in the chat box that asked if beans is protein or carbohydrate. Beans is both. Please go and look it up. It's both protein
Absolutely.
and carbohydrate. It's excellent food. And
absolutely,
is absolutely right about the fact that what we're discussing today is balanced diet. And in each meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, we should have the three food groups, carbohydrate, protein, and fat. I don't know also if we know on this platform that carbohydrate gives more energy than protein. Proteins are building blocks. And fat gives the most energy. So we need it. Guess what? The only food, like Dr. Ajagbe said, that the brain eats is carbohydrate.
Yep.
That's the only food it eats. So we need carbohydrates. However, Dr. Ajagbe, you have work to do. And of course, I will do my part too. Because heavy meal at night is something that we discourage a lot in medicine.
Well,
we don't encourage the heavy carbs and heavy fats at night for obvious reasons. You shouldn't. So more needs to be discussed about that so that, we're doing this really right. But another thing that can be done is to do that lifestyle change with intermittent fasting. So meaning that you cut off eating maybe at 6 or 7. And so your food would have digested, say you go to bed at 10, and you don't pick up eating again, you don't break your fast, which is what breakfast is, until 15 hours later, which will be like 10, 11 o'clock the next day. And then you continue eating until that time again when you cut off eating. I guess if you do that, it wouldn't matter, would it, Dr. Ajagbe, about the heaviness of the dinner, whether it's
Yeah.
big or...
Yeah. Thank you. Let's not forget the focus of today. Today is what constitutes balanced diet. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So once we know what constitutes balanced diet, while I was rounding up, I said you have freedom, you are at liberty to choose whatever you can process, but making sure that you have all the components of balanced diet. For instance, for the question about why porridge, yam porridge at night is heavy, or pounded yam at night is heavy, or amala at night is heavy. Okay, fine. If those are heavy, find something that is not heavy, but still compound carbohydrates. For instance, if you know that compound carbohydrate is pap, for instance, pap, ogi, made from corn, fermented corn, and you feel that is going to make you sleep well, then combine that. Use that as your main carbohydrate source. If you think Moinmoin or Akara, a combination of Akara, Moinmoin, and Ewa and beans is going to give you the amount of protein you need, then add it. Then you want some vegetables, put some collard green or something else to make it to become balanced. What we are looking at today is balanced diet. How you combine them is in fact, you have limitless ways of combining your food components to make a balanced diet. So let's not make the same mistake of thinking when we talk a balanced diet, it has to be food pyramid that we are thinking about. Immediately you are thinking food pyramid. No, we have resources, we have food that don't fit into that picture of whatever the food pyramid looks like. However, they still constitute balanced diet if you mix them properly. Let's make individual choices. All of these are still individual choices. Somebody who is not allergic to wheat, for instance, if you permit me to share a few little things. If you are allergic to bread, you don't have to. If you're allergic to wheat or gluten, you don't have to eat anything that has that because it is carbohydrates. You understand what I'm saying? You just have to look. Like me, I cannot eat bread. So anytime I need carbohydrate, I look for clean compound carbohydrates. I've shared it many times here in the on this platform. I eat cassava a lot. I eat plantain a lot. I don't have any problem with gari. I don't have any problem with amala. I don't have any problem with pounded yam, but I choose my own carbohydrates with knowledge. Like, okay, cassava is not very heavy. It's still compound, it has complex carbohydrate and it's very clean. It only releases glucose. It doesn't release fructose. It doesn't release anything when it's broken down. That's what carbohydrate means. The carbohydrate that we're looking for the body, when it's broken down, should only give you glucose, which is what your body, your muscle needs it, every cell of your body needs it, your brain needs it. For all of the physical activities that we need, our body needs glucose. If you remember, for those who used to do track and fields in those days, there used to be a blue can of white, sugary something that is called glucose. You can buy glucose as its own thing. If you have that by itself, let's say, for instance, if you have glucose, a can of glucose or a sachet of glucose, and in the night you don't want to eat anything heavy, but you need enough glucose for your system, you can make beverage and add enough glucose to it. The glucose, your body will burn it, even while you are sleeping, you're still going to burn some energy and your body needs the glucose. So I don't want us to be bogged down by, is it asaro, is it porridge, is it pounded yam for dinner? And this is a big problem. It shouldn't be a problem. You are at liberty to choose anything that will make you healthy. You hear me? If you know combining ogi, which is pap, you want to combine it with quinoa, with beans in proportion. And you have enough carbohydrate, you have enough protein, you have enough fat. And all of these things contain minerals already and vitamins. Hey, you have balanced diet. Pap also has fiber. Whether you can see it with your eyes or not, it contains fiber that are prebiotic, that when you combine it with probiotics, you get healthy microbiome of your lining of your guts. And that's all that we're talking about. If you maintain healthy choices, your gut will thank you. Your stomach, your intestine, your colon will all be happy. There'll be no heartburn, there'll be no bloating, there'll be no indigestion, there'll be no constipation, nothing.
You are 100% correct. And oh, by the way, before we go on, I want to let everybody know that I got the materials. I will figure out how to send it. I was not able to send it, was why I could not save it. The scanned documents, and it's not one. There are 4 or 5 of them, but I couldn't save it but to my files, and it makes it difficult for me to, there are several layers, but be rest assured you will get all those documents that Dr. Ajagbe has been referring to over and over again. You will get them. I'll figure it out after the talk. So, Dr. Lola, kindly unmute. You muted again.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 3T.
Thank you. Dr. Ajagbe, can you please expatiate on palm oil? Because it keeps, before it says it was bad, sometimes they say it's good. I don't know what's the current situation or what's the truth. Because if we're doing ayamashi, we're using palm oil. We're doing some vegetable, we're using palm oil. Please, can you expatiate on that?
Well, we can go.
1 minute, please, sir. Thank you for that question. I have that down. If you can please go over the oils again, because we've done this before. Please, if you can just lump that to that question, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So the straight answer to your question about palm oil is as healthy can be. Palm oil has received bad rap because of the saturated, fatty acid that is being, touted as being very bad for us. However, if organic, unadulterated, unprocessed palm oil is utilized, which is straight from how the Africans make it, it is healthy. In fact, it is being seen as an antidote to a lot of things, including urticaria, because I used to suffer from urticaria as a child till my adulthood. And every time they put palm oil on my skin like that, it's gone. I can't even explain how it works, but it did work. It contains carotene. Carotene is very good for us, vitamin A. That's the foundation of vitamin A, carotene. With the carotene, we need it for our eyes. The visual center, the visual purple is based on vitamin A. So we cannot shy away from that. So I will tell you, if you use palm oil judiciously and you use it the healthy way. Don't fry it, don't bleach it, don't do nothing. Just use it as it is for cooking. If you know you are not going to become nauseous when you use palm oil, don't overcook it. Add it towards the end of your cooking so that it doesn't have a lot of heat that could denature palm oil. So you just leave it, eat it in a healthy form, and you'll be fine. In fact, to let you know, you can search for it, you can Google it, you can look for YouTube. Even Dr. Oz at some point began to tout palm oil. Yay! Palm oil. That when you use palm oil, it will clear your cholesterol. Everything inside your cholesterol plaque, inside your blood vessel, it will be clean like. I didn't do the study, so I can't even say yes or no to that. But they demonstrated it on the TV. Like if you're drinking 1 tablespoon of palm oil every day, in fact, it will clean all the plaque in your blood vessel. How that is done, I don't know. But that is a third-party endorsement that says that the palm oil that we are talking about is healthy. And it's not just healthy, it is heart healthy, and it controls cholesterol accumulation. So what else can I tell you? There are other oils that we've talked about on Medical Mondays with Dr. O over time. And we've gone to different directions with it, but something very simple about them is that there are some oils that cannot be used or should not be used at high temperature. There are some oils that can only benefit us if they are used in their natural, cold expressed, oil form. For instance, olive oil. If you want to enjoy olive oil, don't use it to fry you. Don't use it to cook for a long period of time. Don't use it to bake. If you do, high heat will denature the olive oil and is no longer going to be useful to you nutritionally. In fact, it can have some byproducts that are very dangerous to you. So if you must use olive oil, add it to your food cold. For instance, if I want to eat olive oil, I'll cook my food, even if I want to use it as the oil in my sauce. I will cook the sauce without olive oil. When I'm serving it to eat and it's cool enough, I add the olive oil. So it gives me the benefit of olive oil, in terms of the nutritional and medicinal benefits of olive oil. So since I found out, I no longer use olive oil in any hot condition. Some oils that are very good. Dr. O, should I continue with this oil thing, or there are other questions?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
Dr. I'm going to revert to you in a few minutes, but please conclude about the oil.
Okay. So the other oils that you can bank on that will not denature when you apply, you apply high heat to. They are said to be oils with very high flash points. That is, they do not catch fire at very high temperature. And their composition do not degrade when you expose them to high heat. The best of them will be grapeseed oil. Yes, some other people are bad-mouthing it because they see that grapeseed oil sale is beginning to pick up against olive oil. So now there's a battle against who wins this war. The same thing with palm oil. The new palm oil was originally coming from Africa, so they badmouthed it as being bad. When it started coming from Malaysia and a lot of big people are putting money into it, then they saw the benefit of it. Now they are pushing it again as one of the best oil in the whole world. So we will always get this push and, the pushback from people while some people are bad-mouthing them. So if I was going to fry my plantain or my yam or sweet potato or anything I want to fry, I will use grapeseed oil first because it's not going to break down. I will use avocado oil. I will use sesame seed oil. And there's the sesame.
Okay.
I will use coconut oil. I will use ghee. Ghee is another oil, which is a rarefied butter, they call it. Okay, so you can use ghee. Ghee is a very expensive, and it doesn't break down as other oil will break down at high heat. There are other regional oils that other people are using that we may not be exposed to in Africa, but they're still very useful when you consider the heat exposure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that robust expansion of the oils. Thank you also for advising on how to use palm oil. I remembered when I was taught how to cook vegetable soup in Nigeria, I was taught to put my palm oil last. You actually you cook your sauce, you put your vegetables, and towards the end with the palm oil, towards the end. So that must be why nobody explained why to me then, but apparently not to overcook it. But I want to say that ayamashi is bleached palm oil. They actually, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was why I emphasize do not bleach.
Okay.
Ayamashi might be delicious, but does not necessarily mean it's healthy. If you understand what I'm saying. So if you must get the benefit of the flavor, you will lose out on the nutritional benefits. So you trade off. Do you want taste or do you want, the nutritional benefits? For palm oil, and I don't see any reason why you couldn't use just red palm oil the way it is to cook ayamasi, except that you overcook the pepper to make it truly fried. And anytime you overcook anything, whether it is vegetable or oil, you lose the nutritional benefit. It may taste very good. I'm not bad-mouthing the taste or the flavor. But I'm saying if you want the nutritional benefits, it's better to just do that. Do what is necessary for the oil you want to use. Now, if color is the reason why they bleach the oil before they use it, then use any other clear oil that can withstand heat. You understand? Like you can use grapeseed oil, try it, cook the ayamasi the way you normally cook it, but don't use the bleached palm oil. Use any other oil that can stand high heat and see. If the flavor changes, then well, you can say, well, I prefer the taste with bleached palm oil, and so I'm going to stick with that. By all means, you have that liberty. But if you want the nutritional benefits of palm oil, then don't use it the wrong way.
So thank you.
Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just 30 seconds. They didn't, it's not about the bleach. I mean, the bleaching of the palm oil came as a result of economic thing. It's about poverty. In those days, palm oil is all they had. Buying what is the other oil called? Buying that was very expensive.
Granite oil.
That was used. Yeah, unless you're using a Moinmoin, buying those other oil was only for frying egg. It was only for egg for Sundays, but anything else is used palm oil. So it just happened to be like that, and we all adopted it because it tasted good like that.
Well,
but they was not trying to bleach it.
Well, that's usually the reason behind bleaching the palm oil. However, ignorance for a time. Now we are aware of what it does. if you don't want to benefit, get the nutritional benefit from palm oil, continue bleaching it. Whether poverty or flavor preference, whatever you choose, it's okay. But you just know that using palm oil that way is not going to give you the benefit you're looking for.
Yes, thank you. And Madam VP, I want to remind you though that for ayamase that we eat today, they have to bleach it's part of the sauce. They have to overcook that palm oil to achieve the ayamase content. So it's very important that we know what we are eating. So if people are eating it, please don't make it every day, maybe once in a while. I want to also, say that research has shown that palm oil has 50% saturated fat. And some researchers are now saying that it depends on the kind of oil or the kind of saturated fat that constitutes saturated fat being bad or not. What we know is that saturated fat increases the bad cholesterol, the LDL, which I call the artery clogger. But research is now showing that not all saturated fat cause that. And they're showing that palm oil saturated fat does not cause that. So what
Absolutely.
Dr. Ajagbe
Absolutely.
said, okay. But Dr. Gulaye sent me a link last week, and geez, I've been wanting to text her to let her know that, to thank her. And she's the one coming up next now to talk or to ask a question. She sent me a link that blew my mind about research and how so many researches in medical journals are falsified.
Yes, yes.
That blew my, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you're saying yes, but we base our treatment on research. We're encouraging our people to do research. You and I talked about Black History Month and talking about research. So how do we find a balance? How do we know what we are talking about here?
Well, the truth of it is this, like I said about the war, there's always going to be a war going on, a war between pro and con. For instance, let me leave Dr. Ogunle's, exposition alone. But I'm saying for whatever it is that we are talking about, when it comes to water, for instance, you saw with Bill Craig, you saw how we went to water, just the water that we buy. You saw when we exposed everything, then you can see that why do you have to spend your money to kill yourself? I mean, if you didn't know, you didn't know. But do you know that Coca-Cola and all the people making this big box from water can never come openly to say that bottled water is bad for you? Even when they know that their own research tells them that phthalic acid leaches into the water when you store it for a long time in a warehouse. They're not going to come to you and say, hey, listen, we agree, this thing is going to kill somebody sometime. But they'll tell you that they know that something is going to kill somebody sometime, and they don't think it's going to be their water. So they're going to defend it as much as possible. So if Coca-Cola as a company is funding a research on water, safety of water or bottled water for drinking, do you think they're going to publish anything that is detrimental to their product? They're not going to publicize it. They're just going to pretend like it didn't exist. You understand what I'm saying? And I know that for a fact. I did some research that showed very bad deleterious effect of a particular product. And the journal had to inform the manufacturer of the product that this is about to come out in their journal, that they should take a look at it and see if they want it to be or whatever. Do you know that the president of that company came to look for me to ask me to change my idea of what I've written in that journal?
Oh, wow.
No, I'm not exaggerating. He was a Caucasian guy. He came to me and said, can you just say that this is inconclusive? But I said, look, I have scanning electron microscopy to justify my claim.
Yes.
And this is conclusive enough because it's visible evidence. This is about how many times magnification? About 200 times magnification of a particular defect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there, even when you want to gloss over it. But the man said, if everybody returns their product, should I bring them to you? I said, what concerns me about that? Are you trying to blackmail me? Is that because people are going to return your product? That is my fault?
Oh my gosh.
So I told him, I said, I'm sorry, I have nothing, I cannot change my finding and my conclusion based on the findings that I have, which is in photograph. I have the scanning electron micrographs that is supporting my claim. So if you want to fight it, you can, but I don't know what else to tell you. The guy went away. He thought he could just bamboozle me like, just say that it's not conclusive and we'll be square. I said, no, I can't say it's non-conclusive because the evidence is very clear. Anyway, so the scientific fraud is pervasive. It's everywhere. Even in NIH, you see that going on. Of course, we don't want to talk about other things because it's controversial. So, but anyway, that's the way it is. Yeah.
I'll send you what Dr. Ogunleye sent me. Well, you don't need it because you already know, but it was an eye-opener for me. So I'm looking at this research on palm oil. Also, I brought that up. Like, okay, now, this is to buttress what has been said. Dr. Ogunleye, kindly unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you so much for that article you sent me.
You're welcome. I purposely sent it to you because it looks like you have a lot of trust in the field. But the truth of the matter is, as the world becomes more capitalistic, truth goes out the window. People just want to be rich at all costs, and they don't care who they harm. And yes, they do sponsor research. And Dr. Ajagbe, you're lucky that he just went away. What they normally do is to smear the scientist. They will smear you, they will say bad things about you, they will discredit you. They've discredited many scientists that try to shed light on the things that the business world sponsored and said is good for us, is this for us, is that. And then later on, I mean, look at the food industry. Every once in a while, it's like every 5 years, you see a whole lot of commercials, got milk, and then they start telling you all these things that's good about cow's milk for you, that you have to. That's how you get your calcium. That's how you get your this. That's how you get your that. And we all know that's not true. But they sponsor research that tells us that. Anywho, that's not the reason I raised my hand. Dr. Ajagbe, imagine a white guy coming to Africa for the first time and he got served ogi. And he goes, golly, this looks like pap. And he's an OBGYN. What he meant was, it looks like pap smear. And the person that served him goes, pap, pap. And from then on, we start calling it pap. Ogi is ogio. Akamu is akamu. Don't call it pap, Dr. Ajagbe, please. If we're not going to rename chow mein, we're not going to rename pizza, let's not rename our food. If they want to find out what it is, we'll tell them it's made with corn. But the name is ogi. It's not pap. Akara is akara. It's not bean cake. It's not even cake. We don't even bake it. So if they want to know what it's made from, is beans. That's one.
Well, I think that was my own choice of words. It's not,
it's not
stereotypical of anything.
Dr. Ajagbe,
but I chose just for communication because I know that a lot of people.
No, I'm going to defend you on this one. It's not your choice of words. It's
A lot.
it's been our interpretation of explaining what these things are.
Yes.
Bean cakes forever. Wait,
Mhm.
Dr. Ajagbe. Dr. Ajagbe, please
Well, I mean,
comment on this one.
I appreciate your observation.
But the pap,
So
is it true story or you joking? Wait, I know my girl. Is it true story? The
I'm
pap,
not joking.
you're not joking.
well,
I'm not
I
joking. No African. What
Mm.
is even pap? What does it mean?
Wow.
Can anyone tell me the meaning of pap?
I don't know how we came about it, but again, I want
Exactly.
to defend Dr.
well,
Ajagbe that it's
But it
not
does look
what
like pap
didn't
smear,
join
doesn't
him.
it?
It started. Huh?
It does
Was
well,
look like pap
I
smear,
no,
doesn't it?
it don't it well when he said pap and said pap smear, it's because the virginal secretion, when we do pap smears, because I do pap smears, they can cut it just like pap. Just like
Exactly.
that
That's
is
how
true.
it got its
When
name.
you said it, I was shocked because I never connected it.
well,
And
I mean, we can always go back to origins of words. Etymology, we can figure it out, but for now,
Hmm.
let's just focus on what we're trying to do tonight, which is what constitutes balanced diet.
Okay. Here's
okay,
a
Dr. Ajagbe, it is still part of what we are doing tonight. Thank
I
you for
know.
that
I
education,
said,
Dr.
mhm,
Guleye, because I'm
mhm.
never calling Ogipap again. Because it does look like what he said it looks like. And that's why I won't do that again. For me,
my second
Well,
thank you.
thing with Ogi.
Mhm.
Um, I know we're in the diaspora, so it may be difficult to get wholesome Ogi. And if you permit me, Dr. O, I just want to quickly say how you can make your own well-balanced Ogi at home with all the fiber intact.
Please, go
Oh,
ahead. That's
all
why
right.
we're here.
Thank you. So buy your corn from the store, soak it for 3 days. After you soak it, you rinse it out, add ginger, add cloves, just a little bit of ginger and cloves. And if you like, when you make it, you can add turmeric to get that yellow color. And also turmeric is good for you because some people like custard. They say they don't drink ogi, but they take custard. I want so. Anywho, so so when you soak it for 3 days, it gets softer. Put it in your blender and then grind it to a smooth paste. Do not sieve the ogi. They sell to us at home. They sieve it out. And that takes out all the fiber. They use a fine mesh cloth to sieve it, and that takes out all the fiber. And they feed the fiber to chickens. What we really actually need in our body, they feed to chickens. Try. Oh God. Anyway, so do not sieve it, but grind it. The modern blenders they sell these days, they do a very good job. So grind it smooth and then just make it paste. If you
You say
don't,
not save it,
don't sieve it at all.
just blend it.
Just blend it.
Okay,
And
question.
then put it in your fridge and then be taking it little by little and making every morning.
Okay, question for you.
Mhm.
And maybe Dr. Jagwe can chime into this. Corn, we know these days, are mostly genetically engineered. In fact, we now have a huge problem in Nigeria when it was allowed for people to bring in the genetically modified corn from information that I was given. So how do you differentiate genetically modified corn from authentic organic corn?
Uh, Authentic uh, organic corn, heirloom corn, is not flat. When you look at it, it's rounded. It looks like teardrop, but round. The modified ones are flat
Mm.
and they are big, they're huge. Heirloom corn is not huge. That's the much I can say about that.
Dr. Jagbe, do you
well,
know?
um, thank you, Dr. Gule, for your contribution. What you will hear, people will call conspiracy theory thing, conspiracy theory that, but there's no smoke without fire. The Monsanto, if you ever know about Monsanto, research, and that's where most of the GMOs originated from, because they really wanted to monopolize the world grain or seed reserve, that you cannot grow anything without getting through Monsanto, because that's the way it is. They were able to do their own research to try to say that they could create seeds that can resist pests. So that was the original, intention. But then, of course, they have to come up with a way to say, if you choose not to buy our own seed, the repercussion of that. So now you have seeds that can resist pests, but then they cannot do what the heirloom seeds used to do. And then the same GMO seeds, when they now grow into plants, their pollens are going to pollinate the heirloom. So which one comes first, the chick or the hen? You can't really separate them now. So I'm just saying, whatever seed you find, unless they're in the remotest part of the world, that nothing from the West has crossed over in terms of grains. But you know what? You go to a place like IITA in Ibadan here, that I'm here in Ibadan this moment. But you go there, you want to buy good seed, you want to buy this, they tell you that you want to avoid pests, you want to avoid this, and these are all Monsanto seeds. So there is really nowhere you go now that you won't find GMO. There is really nowhere. There you go, that you can find GMO. Now, there are some people that are selling, if you go online, you want to buy, heirloom seeds. The people who are thinking about the end of the world, the end of the world thing. So now they are the one that are coming up with, say, we have the heirloom seed if you want to buy. They sell it to you at top prices. They have available. But unless you want to start a big plantation and you want to buy a big supply of heirloom and do it inside greenhouse, because if we can blow pollen miles, pollen from a GMO plant will pollinate a heirloom plant, and you don't have control over that. Because the wind carries the pollen of, some of these grassy plants, like millets, like corn, like all of these things. The wind takes the pollen and carries it miles to pollinate. So I just want to say that if you want anything that you can grow by yourself and you can get the heirlooms, seeds for it, you are good. If you don't have the large enough land to do everything you want to do, you cannot dodge a GMO now. You can't. Because it's kind of ubiquitous now. You can't, anywhere you want to do good farming, you buy seed from the reservoir, and this reservoir is not heirloom.
Thank you.
Dr. O,
Yes.
I also wanted to add that the issue with palm oil, it was a conspiracy theory by the exporters of palm oil because it was a cash crop. And they wanted to discourage local consumption of cash crops so that they can they can have the upper hand when negotiating with farmers. If nobody's buying their cash crop and they have to sell it to these Oyinbo people, then those people will be able to name their price and the farmers won't have any choice but to agree because nobody is buying it. So when they said palm oil is bad for us, that's the reason, so that we'll stop buying palm oil and our farmers will have no choice but to sell to them. And it's not just palm oil that they did that with. They did it with even peanut
Cocoa.
and cocoa. A lot of these cash crops that we don't use, even coconut oil that we don't use. Our ancestors used those oils. Even shea oil, they used it, but we don't use them anymore because they are cash crops to the West. And there's almost no food on the shelf in the West that does not use palmitate. They use palm oil, a product of palm oil, in almost all their food production. Next time you grab Jimmy Dean's or any of these other packaged foods, read the labels. You will see it there. So it's very, very advantageous to them. It's money to them. That's why they don't want us consuming it. But Ashiri 122, we now know better.
Thank you so much for that input. Somebody has a question for you, but before I go to the question, Dr. Zugu, I'll come back to you in a minute because I want her to tie in what that question before she steps down. I want to say, if you're thinking of buying me a New Year gift, please order Obalende Suya and send to me. When you call Dr. Ogunleye to order the Obalende Suya, she has my address, so I'll be able to get it. So if you're thinking of, New Year gift for Dr. Obalende Suya is the way to go. So the question for you, Dr. Ogunleye, is that, are you saying that the cornmeal that we use for cornbread is not good for ogi, or for ogi that we drink?
The cornmeal, by cornmeal, you mean the corn that has already been milled,
No,
ground.
okay. But for God, Auntie Ma, kindly unmute and answer that question. I was just reading out the question.
Okay.
So
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ogunleye and Dr. Ajagbe. Good evening, my brothers and my sisters. Happy New Year.
Good evening. Good morning.
Nigeria.
Dr. Ajagbe, I'm answering later. Dr. Ogunleye, thank you so very much. What I want to ask is this. I don't know where you are located, but here I have been using cornmeal, and I can't get up now to show you the picture, but it's milled already, and I've been using it for years to make ogi. Even though tonight I had okababa, which is right from home because they make it for me. But on the other hand, I make my own ogi myself using the cornmeal instead of, because it has been milled already. All you just do is I soak it for a couple of days, 3 days to ferment or more, with lemon in it, and then blend it. Just like you said, I don't sieve it. I don't sieve it because I use a power blender. I don't like sieving. And I was just considering what you said now about sieving, because the one I ordered from home, I wanted to tell them, please do not sieve it. But please address the issue with the cornmeal. If you don't know about the cornmeal, then maybe I'll look for the picture and post it.
No, I've seen cornmeal in the store, but the question you have to ask is, did they already remove the chaff from it before packaging it? If they had, the cornmeal.
No, they already did. They already removed the skin.
So if they already did
Usually
that, it's not as wholesome then.
what they normally would do to mill corn is they have a way of removing the shiny water resistant skin from it, and then they grind it into different meshes. What they call different meshes is the grain size, the particle sizes that they do grind it into. So you can get fine milled corn or cornmeal, or you can find very coarse ones. So You will hardly get any cornmeal or milled corn that has skin in it.
Yeah, that's why I prefer to just buy my own corn. And I also mix my ogi with millet. They sell millet at Whole Foods and, all these other
So
stores.
Sister Rosemary did ask if millet is good to consume every day. Is
I
that
have millet. I cook millet with quinoa, or I cook millet by itself. You don't have to make all these preparations. It's just for you to get complex carbohydrate in your system. Make it any which way you like. If one procedure is complicated, use another procedure.
Okay.
It's corn that you want to eat.
The question is,
you can eat it every day.
Thank you. That was the question. She said,
I already said that. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, you didn't. You just said what you are doing. And then, so I wanted her to get the answer.
Thank you.
Can be eaten every day. Thank you. Sister Folashade said, in Western world, she thinks we have GMO all over. So, Sister Rosemary, you can eat your millet every day.
I do eat every day anyway.
I beg to differ, not because of the millet. I just think that too much of anything is bad. I like
moderation.
So I don't think we should eat anything every day. In my thoughts, I've not done the research. I don't know. I've not seen any research to that effect. I'm just saying that from everything we're saying, I think like Dr. Ajagbe keeps bringing us back to it's balanced diet we're talking about. I think balancing things out is a good thing. And Sister
balance and moderate.
I eat mine with beans or pepper soup,
Yeah,
egg,
but moderation.
Yes. Yeah. Moderation, yes.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. How are you, my darling?
Fine, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Dr. Ezugo, kindly unmute. I still have some questions in the chat box, but if you raise your hand, you have better.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Ajagbe, for that detailed discussion on nutrition. My this guy will move a little bit away from it, but it's all in the same. And the comment has to do with the cash crop aspect of palm oil. And I wholly agree with that statement because now palm oil is not bad. If we prepared well, if taken it appropriate way, it has a lot of not only healing, but nutritional value. And again, in proportion is the right thing. But take palm tree, for instance, a tree like that. The leaves, people use it to make roof. Part of the stem of the leaf, they use it to make basket. The palm also bring palm wine. The palm, the fruit itself, you can get oil from it. You can also get stuff for fire. You can also make seed. The kernel itself had oil in it both for the skin and also for other things. And the covering shell can also be used to make other jewelries. And the stem of the tree can be used to, build houses with no termites affecting them. It's a product that has so much value that the loss of it because of the bad rapport that people use to just, remove that from many farms in many African areas is really bad. And now look at who is using that product and making so much money out of it. And now we're paying more to even buy it here. But anyway, we live, we learn. And thank you all very much.
Yes. Dr. Ajagbe, go ahead.
So, Dr. Ezugu,
yes,
now you really hit the nail on the head. Yeah. However, whenever anybody wants to take something from somebody else, they will tell you, that thing has no value. That thing is useless. Don't just throw it away. And then when you throw it away, then they go take it and then use it. So we are the one that must come up with a better paradigm for our own situation. If we have so many professors than any other country in the whole world, and the bulk of the professors are here in Nigeria, they are all giving inaugural lectures every day, every week, they are giving inaugural lecture. And we cannot solve our own problems. We are the problem ourselves. So I don't even know how to tell you. If there are researchers who do well with palm oil, there are botanists, there are foresters, there are agronomists, there are different specialists who have PhDs, who are professors of agriculture, and they can't see any reason why they can bring this thing back to the forefront for us. Then I don't understand what kind of education we are talking about that we are all getting everywhere else. So yes, bad rap, cash cropping, everybody must take advantage of the other person. That's a very sad commentary, but that's the way it is. The war that we are constantly fighting is economic war.
Yeah.
Because if you cannot use your own product yourself, and you are depending on somebody else to use it for you and give you money, then they must be the one to dictate how much they want to pay for your stuff. Because it's useless to you. If you can't do anything with it, it will rot away. You know, part of the problem with groundnut and part of the problem with cocoa is once fungi began to corrupt them, it's a complete waste. So, and the same thing with palm oil. Palm oil, if you have it stored for a long time and nobody uses it, of course it degrades over time. So we have to be the one to come up with solutions for our own problems. Our challenges must come from within, not from outside.
Thank you so much. And I also appreciate the fact that you concentrated this nutritional thing on African food. The things are so much around us. Because do you know how much it will cost you here to get the quality food we have in Africa that grows within your yard here in this country? Okay. You know, we want to even push to do food pantry that tell you that your natural food is good medicine, not this thing that you go process this thing, process that. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate your presentation.
Well, this is the whole idea of when I was going to give this presentation. I wanted us to look beyond what seems to be so-called standard. The standard is the food pyramid. And if you look at it, there is no mention of Akara there. There is no mention of Ugi there. There is no mention of anything there. So if you look at it and you think that is the only way you can get balanced diet, then you are totally off.
That's right.
So who are we talking to? We are talking to ourselves. If I know I love Ugi and Akara, and I don't have any allergy to it, what stops me from enjoying my Ugi and Akara? You know, when I need it, it's balanced, it's healthy, it's good. In fact, it's excellent. So we must do this for ourselves. If we are waiting for anybody else to do it for us, we're in trouble. It's not going to be done. We have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I am always about solution. We've seen problems. Thank you, Dr. Izugu, for that on-point insight. I'm always about solution. I think we ought to get together and see how we can encourage our people, even empower them to start farming again. It's gonna, even if it's for their own communities, it's going to alleviate a lot of this, poverty, lack of food, and everything we're hearing about. At the same time, it would create businesses. They would have businesses that they can actually make money from selling these products. We need to talk about that at some point.
Dr. O,
very soon.
Sorry to cut into your comments, but let me tell you something right now that's going on. Okay. I drove from Ogbomoso through Iseyin, from Iseyin to Ibadan. I'm not making any plug-in for anything or anybody, but I just want to say to you, the land mass between Ogbomoso and Iseyin is 80 kilometers. That's a lot of space.
Yeah.
On both sides of the road, extensive farming. tractors, everything, cultivating things like cassava. You cannot even see the end limit of cassava on that road.
Wow.
What I now heard is this, I was saying it in a very so-called powerful space, that there should be no reason for anybody to be hungry in Oyo State, at least in Oyo State. If that small space between two towns is, in fact, square miles, I don't even know how to expatiate that in terms of description. So it's a lot of land and it's a lot of planting. I said there should be no reason for anybody to be hungry in Oyo State. In fact, in Nigeria, from what I saw there, if anybody wants to eat cassava and gari and fufu and anything that can be made from cassava, I don't see any reason why anybody should go hungry, from that. Guess what I heard?
What? From
people in the Ministry of Health. I had a meeting with them 2 days ago. They were telling me that, all the things you are seeing, they are not selling to us. They are exporting them. Can you hear me?
What?
They are exporting them. That you can't even buy, you can't get it to buy locally. Can you imagine? I don't even understand that.
Oh, wow.
So anything we are talking about now, whoever makes that decision, whoever makes that kind of concession that the food has to be exported, I don't understand.
Hi.
So, and people now, they say they want to sell their products, just like we are talking about palm oil. We are talking about cassava, which is the staple in Nigeria. Staple in Nigeria. Now they are exporting it to where? I don't know. Are they exporting it to China?
Probably.
If they're exporting it to other parts of the world, when it comes back to Nigeria, how much are they going to pay for gari now? Do you think the gari is expensive now? Wait until it's being imported from another country. So it's a very sad commentary. We are trying to, this is why I believe that what we eat, we are what we eat, and if we know what we have.
Dr. Ajagbe.
Yeah, Papa, I was going to come to you with palm oil and everything, because I was going to say that you have been singing that palm oil is excellent oil for us. Welcome, sir. Happy New Year, sir.
God bless you all.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. You too, sir.
Papa is one of our naturopathic gurus, world-renowned, Papa Mike Oye, and he has been singing this. He's preached this to us on Medical Mondays, palm oil. Go ahead, sir.
Dr. Ajagbe, thank you very much for the presentation and the answers to the questions. You are now coming to the most important point, and you are going round and round about it. You and me, we know what we are talking. You have been to my compound to take some things to plant, and we need to emphasize small-scale backyard farming for every family in Nigeria to produce what will be sufficient for each family. Mixed cropping, mixed farming, indigenous fertilizer, indigenous herbicide, indigenous pesticide, and you know that I have a formula for it.
Yes.
I am selling that formula to Nigeria. I already have got a few names of people who will be trained. And if this platform will be interested, individuals can register for the training. The training is voluntary and free. And I'm starting the training next week. The closing date for registration is this Friday. I have a formula that can change the whole of Africa. I am not boasting. I have practiced it for decades. And most of the food I eat, I don't buy. I just want to say that as an introduction. But all the resources are from Africa. Every ecological setup has got fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides in plants. The technology is so simple. Every illiterate farmer can get everything and use it.
Sir, how long is the training, sir?
Oh, just a few days,
Few days, 2-3
Few
days?
days. When we get together on the platform, we can decide together a day that is fit a week, and then we do it.
So the reason I ask, sir, is that I think we can have that for the Medical Mondays family. If I know how long, I can discuss with you off the record, and we can earmark, how many, how long
it will take about three sessions.
About 3 sessions.
Yeah.
Sir, we would like to bring you to Medical Mondays with Dr. Ho, because I know that a lot of people on the platform already cleared their schedule for this time Monday, and we can run it for a whole month. We can run it for a month, sir.
Okay.
But I'm still going to register for your course on Friday, because never
there are some
for me.
there are some senior citizens in Africa, no, in Nigeria, who are registering. They are so concerned about this food problem, and
Sir,
I've given them.
Can you post the registration, sir, on the platform for people who may want to still register for this one coming up, so that you can register? But I would like to dialogue with you so that I know that we booked through, but I'll look at the calendar, sir. Even if it's in March, that we can do it and have the whole month to do that, sir.
All right.
Can everybody please comment on the platform if this is something? Yes. If you agree with me, so we bring this to Medical Mondays and we learn this. It's very important. I believe in farming and in doing this in our homes. Thank you so much, sir, for how you bless us all the time. And your words about palm oil. I remembered I was arguing with you on the palm oil, sir. That's saturated fat. See, we see other things now.
I'm eating the palm oil from my small farm in Oshobo right now. That's what I eat.
Oh, wow. Well, we've been there. I was there, Dr. Ajagbe and co and us. we went to your place in Oshobo.
Yeah.
It's real. Thank you for all you do, sir. We appreciate you, sir.
God bless.
Thank you, sir. And I usually give a disclaimer when I'm invited to give a talk somewhere on medicine, anything to do with medicine. My disclaimer before starting is always that what I'm going to present is what research has shown up until the time I was presenting, and that I may be brought back the next year and research would have shown something different. The only thing that is constant, that does not change, is the word of God. Science changes. And, if we don't take anything home, I pray that we take that home. Because as we gain knowledge, we change. But the word of God does not change. So, thank you, sir. But for God, kindly unmute, Auntie, unmute and ask your question or your comment. And what you got on the platform, if you can add that to it, please.
Thank you again. I just wanted to add about Acha. I don't know if everybody on the platform knows about Acha. Dr. Ajagbe, do you?
Sure.
No, about what?
Acha
is the best grain.
From the north.
Wait. Papa was saying something. Go ahead, sir.
Oh,
Papa.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Papa. Acha is the best grain in the world. Acha. They call it the hungry man's food.
Yes.
And it is the only grain that contains 2 very rare amino acids. It's like sand. And the people who eat it on the plateau are very, very strong. They live long. When I'm in Nigeria, I eat acha.
Oh, we get it from Nigeria? I've never heard of it.
Yes, I said from the plateau.
That's a Benue Plateau.
Benue
Yes.
Plateau.
Behind Jos area.
Yeah, correct.
Well,
that is what I wanted to bring to our attention, really.
Thank you.
That I got it through Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the one who wants to propagate and feed Africa, and is talking about, they call it fonio in English. So I had to research it and send for it from Nigeria. I got some from Nigeria. Straight from Nigeria, and they got it from the north. But the problem with it is that, just like Papa said, it is just almost like sand, the tiniest seed. And it's very nutritious. So I want to bring it to the platform. If anybody interested to research and investigate about it. And the one thing about it is that it has nil or zero glycemic index. Unlike when I eat my millet, which I just had, I was sleeping already during this meeting. But when I ate acha, oh my goodness, no limit, and I did not doze at all after finish eating.
Wow.
That was the first time I tried it. The only thing why I've not used it again is because I have to sit down and pick some of the sand that is still left in it. But otherwise, please, my dear sisters and brothers, give it a trial.
Where did you buy it from?
She got it straight from Nigeria.
Okay.
I got this from Nigeria, from the north. They ordered it for me from the north.
It's called
Nigeria.
Rosemary, I can bring some to church on Sunday for you to see.
Nigeria is the world's highest producer of acha.
Yes.
And if we don't take care, Bill Gates will make capital out of it, spread it all over the world, and gain all the profit.
Yes.
How do you spell it? Acha.
A-C-H-A.
A-C-H-A. Acha.
Okay, A-C-H-A. Okay, thank you.
And the English is F-O-Fonio. Let me get it for you.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you. Sir, this is something we don't want Bill Gates to
well, if I may say one thing or two, we brag about things that we have, and others who have means run away with it. So sometimes it's funny. Everybody that you know that is business minded is already looking for ways to monetize things that you have that you don't even think is important to you.
There we are.
So monetization of acha, because we are bragging about how good it is now. Do you think we are the only one that have access to the information? No, we don't. We're not. So if we know how to cultivate it and we don't have plateau everywhere, there is only one plateau in Nigeria that can grow it. And the government of Nigeria doesn't see any need to protect that area.
We have no government. We have no government. We have no government.
Well, I mean, Brother Mike, let's just leave that one alone. But I'm saying, if we do not see the reason why we need to protect that particular source, we are losing it. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to put it. So
we got it. And, yes, we need to protect it.
That is why we need to wake up. We need to wake up and come together and do something.
Exactly.
And somebody throwing a few thousands of naira to Nigeria and say they don't even know what to do with the money. taking away the technology, they will go and find out how to grow this thing.
Exactly.
If we don't know how to protect our own thing, then we're giving it away for free.
It's a pity.
Dr. Ajagbe,
It's an economic war. That's what is going on. They come like that, they take everything, and then you don't even have access to it anymore.
Yeah. And we get it. So we're raising the problems. We have a government. We may not, we may not be happy with certain things. This is something that is important. And like I said, I like for us to look at solutions. When we identify problems, let's see how we can, let's see what solutions we have and see how we can take it to the leaders. Until we try.
Well,
we don't know if we're gonna,
Dr. O, it's good to be optimistic. Sorry, Dr. O.
It's not about being optimistic, Dr. Ajagbe. We can discuss it and let's follow up, and then we'll see how we do.
Well, it's not only this, so it's not only Fonio or Acha that is the problem.
Many things.
Because even the mineral called, if you don't know it, the mineral called californium, go and look it up. Californium, just like California, the IUM. Go and look at the value and see where you can find californium in the world. It's in Nigeria.
Borno.
It's in Nigeria, but do you know that Nigeria doesn't even know how to protect their own interest in that case?
So Dr. Ajagbe, this is a conversation we need to have, and we will have it in the right places.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep let's take this away from here so that we come back to we stay with balanced diet, because we have deviated. It is important deviation, but we will come back to this, Papa.
Yeah,
I'm gonna sit with you again and get more. We have Acha, we have California. There are more, you said, and we will take it to the right place. Nobody knows it all. Yes, we have a government, we have leaders. Guess what? They may not even know about this. Or then how do you protect it? They may not even know. So we will come up with all of this and take it to the right channels. But coming back to today's talk, because our time is, fast spent. Nkechi, I will be right with you. Auntie Susan Oshifade asked this question ways ago. He said, "Thank you, Dr. Ajagbe, for bringing home the benefits of our own foods and those combinations, which will be a keepsake for most of us. Kindly explain what is resistant starch in unripe plantain." Do you know what that is? Resistant starch.
Well, any unripe carbohydrate source, when the carbohydrate is not fully formed, that is the polymerization of the carbohydrate. It doesn't break down into glucose the way it's supposed to. So like I said earlier, any complex carbohydrate that will benefit human being must be broken down through hydrolysis and digestion to glucose. If the unripe plantain,
just so we keep the answers a little bit shorter. In unripe plantain, do you have resistant carbs, or is
yes,
it good carbs?
You do.
Okay.
You do, and that's why many people cannot digest unripe plantain. Some people will still digest some part of unripe plantain, but if you ate unripe plantain in the natural form, the carbohydrate will not be digested into glucose properly.
Unripe plantain is not good food to eat then?
You see, I can't say that because people have been eating amala made from unripe plantain for centuries in Africa. So I can't say it's not useful. All I can say to you is to answer that question. Does it have resistant carbohydrate? Yes. The carbohydrate cannot be digested easily into glucose.
That
Absolutely.
carbohydrate is good. That complex carbohydrate is good because when it
No,
gets
Brother Mike.
Okay.
Brother Mike, the complex carbohydrate that is good is the one that can be broken down into glucose. The fiber content of any carbohydrate that is not breakable by any enzyme needs the probiotics, which
That's
is
where I was going.
bacteria,
That's where I was going.
to break
That's why I
it
said
down.
it's
That's
good.
different. Yeah, that's different from resistant carbohydrate. We're not talking about the fibers themselves. The carbohydrate itself is
Okay,
what is resistant.
it said that was where it was going, but it was not able to complete his statement. He said that was what he was trying to explain. I guess now unripe plantain has the resistant carbohydrate, and that is carbohydrate that doesn't break down to glucose. So we've been encouraged to eat unripe plantains as opposed to ripe ones over years, which is why we've encouraged unripe plantain amala for people to eat. So that's an area to look at, because now what's left to eat? And Sister Flashade said, thanks for enlightening us. What is GHS substitute for bottled water? I don't know what GHS is. Do you know what that is? What is GHS substitute for bottled water?
Well, I don't know the abbreviation of it, but I substitute for water.
I don't know.
That's really
Sister Folashade, don't let's try. If she can,
Yeah,
if you can unmute
explain, yeah, what does that mean?
That would be great. So, Sister Nkechi, go ahead. Please ask your question. We're going to be wrapping up soon. Nkechi, there you go. Oh, you muted again. You muted. You muted. You unmute, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ajagbe, for all your information this night. They were very great. But I wanted to piggyback on some of the questions. First of all, the green plantain. Me, I'm Omo Yalogede from childhood, Mokiri Ogede Dada. So I just want to ask you a question about green plantain. We eat green plantain a lot at my place, and then is it nice? Because my mom used to put cow inside. If you boil the green plantain, you put a little bit of cow, it will be soft for you to be able to digest it. And it's very sweet. It changes the color, it makes it softer, but you have to eat it when it's hot. They said it's like a food in Port Harcourt, they eat it that way. That is one. And then the other thing about water, she just asked something about water. Water, I hear some people say drink alkaline water that makes you lose weight. And I tried it one time. I mean, I had diarrhea the whole day. So I want to also know something about that because you talked about food and nutrition. And then the farming thing too that you talked about. In California here, mostly people that live in Stockton, you see them plant things like ugu, plant bitter leaf, and they sell it to people. And when I was in Maryland, I was able to plant ugu. But the problem I was having with the ugu is each time I plant it, I had snake coming around it to come eat it up. So I had to buy something to stay away the snake from coming. I think in Maryland, I was doing that. So when we talk about farming in America, are you talking about, well, you're talking about we planting our things. Are you talking about America here or we should plant at home? You understand? Yeah. So here it can be very difficult to bring the seed in to plant because I had to sneak those things in with coffee, those things that I planted. So what are other alternatives to bring things for us to plant here? And when you say plant in Nigeria, like Dr. O said, yeah, there's a lot of things that, the government doesn't know. If we as this small group can come together and give them more information. They are not well enlightened. I can tell you they went to school here. Bola Tinubu can tell you I went to school in California, in Chicago, but that was a long time ago. There wasn't any technology like this. You understand? And then for me, I've been trying to preach this too, because I have a foundation that I'm trying to preach things like this, like farming. When we talk of yam, you get yam all the way in the north, or you get it somewhere. We can't get it in Lagos. People don't plant things like that, tomatoes. So if we, this group, can speak to the government and say all these things that they are transporting from other states can be planted like 2 states from each other, it will make the food insecurity better. You understand that than what it is now? Because the problem we are having is you can buy tomatoes in Lagos for $10, right? Or 10 naira. But when you go to the north, I've lived in the north, you can buy for a whole basket for even 2 penny. You understand? Because it's planted there and it's very cheap there. So what can we do as this group to make things happen for us in Nigeria? And I do understand we all believe that we don't have government, but are they well enlightened like us that had traveled out of the country? That I rest my case now.
Thank you so much. I have traveled out of the country and I was not enlightened in this. I'm learning some new things. Like I said before, we are learning. Thank you so much for your comment, Nkechi. It's very encouraging. I appreciate it because I think we need to be looking at solutions. And it's important to recognize the problems. And once we recognize it, to look for solutions and go to the right places to see if things can be done better. Dr. Ajagbe, a lot of people are appreciating the presentation, and a lot of people want to have the course on Medical Mondays, and they're even asking for cost. We will discuss that, but this is great. I see a lot of response. We're going to have it. It's a deal. Medical Mondays family, thank you. I want to learn also, and so we bring the course here. Well, Dr. Ajagbe, this has been amazingly awesome. A great way to start the year, a great way to better our nutrition. I believe we have learned a lot, and we can change our diet appropriately. We've seen that we have a lot in our culture, in our diet, that is just so fantastic, that is needed for our health. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. Before I yield back to you to give us your closing statement, I want to share that one of our houses in Lagos that we have used for 25 years to help people. My parents actually kept building and extending and, making extensions that the place now house like 26 families. And they pay 4 naira a week to live there, because these are people who cannot pay the yearly, rent. We have family members that have been living there for years without paying anything. The house caught fire that started in one of our family houses unit on the 22nd of December. We have 6 families that lost everything. All they had on them were the clothes they have on. But something amazing that we would not know existed occurred. They actually called the firefighters, and 6 fire trucks, US standard, came. They were timely, and they were able to quench the fire so that the whole house was not, engulfed. Nobody lost their lives, and we are grateful for that. But the families that lost everything, I want to talk about that. If any of you sees in their hearts that they can donate to assist them, please, you can donate to our nonprofit organization so it can be tax-free for you. Global Vision Foundation, but the link to donate I'll put in the chat box is gvfmissiontrips.com, gvfmissiontrips.com. If you feel that you would like to assist them, please donate to gvfmissiontrips.com. So, Dr. Ajagbe, I'm going to yield to you. And I want to thank my Auntie Susan, Auntie Fumi Oshifade. I just saw not long before this meeting that she actually sent money to help these people. She's been nagging me. I was at her house the day this happened. She celebrated my birthday that day on the 22nd. So I was there and she's like, we have to do something. We need to, get clothes, shoes shipped to them. That would incur a lot of other costs. So thank you so much, Auntie, for your heart and for helping. So Dr. Ajagbe, I'm going to defer back to you. So please give us your closing remarks.
Well, thank you everyone for staying up. It's amazing to see that despite the length of discussion and interchange, many people are still on. And I didn't see anyone leaving. That shows that this topic...
People have left. We had almost, some people left.
Yeah, well, I didn't catch them leaving because most of them are still left, or, But anyway, so thank you all for your attention. And I know that you have gained one thing or another. We need to bear it in mind that we still have flexibility in choosing what we eat. There is no hard and fast rule about what you must combine. If you have any food restrictions, there are alternatives. You just have to do a little bit of digging to find an alternative, which I did. When I discovered that I'm allergic to many of the foods that I used to enjoy, and I had to quit them cold turkey. But I had to define what balanced diet is to me. Using just using the basic formula of carbohydrates, protein, fat, minerals, and vitamins. And that has been very helpful to me. I've not been ill since I decided to quit all the allergens, cold turkey. I have not been ill in any way, shape, or form. And I'm grateful for what I look like and what I feel like. More importantly is feeling healthy. Not sneezing, not coughing, or having breathlessness. I think those are good signs that one is living a healthy life. So please, this is a new year. If you have questions and you still want to find out more, you can send questions to Dr. O. At some point, we may be able to deal with them if we are not able to deal with them today. Since we are not going to be able to deal with them anymore, unless some people hang out and we talk afterwards. But the program has to end. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's morning for me. It's already past 3 a.m. before I can go to lay down probably before a.m. So thank you so much. Bye.
Dr. Ajagbe, you're amazing. Thank you. We appreciate you. 3 a.m. in Nigeria, actually past 3 a.m. And Haman in London wrote, it's 2 a.m. GMT in London, and that he will not miss it for the world. Dr. Ajagbe, these are the people that have been talking to me that don't you dare stop our program. Auntie Susan, please speak up, because it will be like I'm the one making this up. Aman is here, so I can say they bombarded me after the last session we had and said, "Don't you cut our program short? What are you talking?" Please, Auntie Susan, I yield to you, ma.
What do you want me to say?
Thank you again for your contribution, ma, and for celebrating me.
You have said it all. To God be the glory.
Amen.
Thank you for the beautiful evening. You can see that we all enjoyed listening. That's why we are all glued to our Zoom. So if you had cut it short, we wouldn't have gotten all that we got from Dr. Ajagbe and Papawi and all the other contributors. So it's always good to have other people have the time to talk and discuss and ask questions. So that's one of the reasons why, personally, I feel that you should let it be for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
All right, somebody is posting
I don't know who did that.
No, it's all right. Is the length of Medical Mondays adequate? Please, is the poll.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, you say yes or no.
And the second question, it's an objective way of knowing how people feel anonymously. So nobody knows who said what. So if you want to say yes or no, you are free to do that. For somebody who posting the poll.
No, Dr. Ajagbe, only 2 people can post it. You and I know. We know that. You know
you and Dr. Ajagbe.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Okay, let me just explain to everyone. Please, there are 3 questions. There are choices of questions. Is the length of Medical Mondays adequate? Yes or no? And what would you consider adequate time? 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours. Please answer. Will you like adding interviews of real life experiences?
Okay, so you want to post the poll again?
The poll is still there.
No, it's gone.
Please repost it too.
Dr.